Hi, everyone. This is Robert Jones, and yes, I am here standing in for Daniel Faust this week on Warheroes to Superheroes, and we are actually doing this live and authentic out here in Las Vegas, Nevada. We are here at the Military Influencers Conference, and man, it has been a packed, day and a half so far. We have so much more to go through tonight and tomorrow. So I just want to welcome everyone. This show is for those entrepreneurs who are going greatness from the boardroom to the bedroom, and so I'm glad that you're here with us today, and let's just try to make it exciting. I also want to give a shout out to Daniel Faust. They had a super virtual connector here at the event, and Daniel Faust was #1, and so he was awarded a special place, and he's going to have an all expenses paid trip to come out here next year, to probably do it again with what he calls his own ADHD and OCD. So again, my name is Robert Jones. I'm your guest host today. I am a Marine by training from 1983 to 1989. I'm proud of that. Hoorah! So, all your vets and Marines out there, all our other service members, I'm just really thankful to be here today. I'm owner and founder of the Entrepreneur Network. We help our military, and we help those civilians, find their voice, their message, and getting out the methods to the world. And I am here with Annette Wittenberger, and she is sitting next to me. And I was so blessed. I was able to take a class with her, and I learned a few things, about this, and I think that we're going to get to share with a few of our questions, But Annette, this is really all about you right now, and I just want to kind of bring you into the table. And my question is, tell everyone in the audience today that's watching, just tell us a little bit about your background before the military.
Oh goodness, let's see. Before the military, I was just a confused teenage girl who didn't know what she wanted to do in life, and decided why not try out the military. So what was supposed to be 3 years ended up to be 17 and a half. And retired, had a family out of it, and here I am as an accidental entrepreneur.
There is no accident in what you're doing, Annette. You are a rock star. You are my superhero. I will say that. And I look at it the same way. I was 17 when I joined the Marines, and I remember it was like they put me on a silver jet, and there I was. But tell us a little bit about your military career, your military service, just a little bit, and some of the roles that you had.
Let's see. I served as a chemical corps officer, and I did serve for over 17 years. I was very blessed to have been given different roles. So chemical officers don't get to always do their job per se. You serve other roles, and as a company commander, battalion executive officer, all of those roles just were amazing, and it was a great blessing because we don't always get to have those types of jobs in the military. So I love my soldiers. I love what I did, and God had other plans for me.
And that's really what I want to talk a little bit more about today. I served 6 years. You were 17 and a half years, you crazy person. But my next question is, what inspired you to do what you do now? And you do it so passionately, and I've seen you almost, go to tears in the eyes, but you stopped yourself short. You use a little bit of that military discipline, but tell us about what inspired you to take up what you do now for people.
That was very eye-opening for me to learn how to transition out of the military from not having that uniform anymore or the rank. And I finally had time to discover who I was meant to be.
Yeah.
I do live with PTSD, depression, and anxiety, and that was very hard to admit because you spend all those years being a hard charger. And that's what really saved me, is by voicing it, using my voice and sharing my story to try to help others, and then surrounding myself with those that believed in me.
Yeah.
and kept pushing me to move forward and to stay alive. Honestly, it's just, it's hard.
Sometimes just getting up in the morning is greatness.
Yes.
And I know that for myself. After I got out, I actually didn't know what I was going to do, and I kind of ambled around a little bit.
Yes.
And it really is different because you're on the inside for so long, then you go on the outside, and life is very unique, and you have to approach it in a certain way. And there wasn't, when I was in, a lot of resources for us,
No.
But what are some of the resources that you utilize to help, veterpreneurs and spouses and families, and others, in our community?
There are a lot of nonprofits out there that are working their butts off to provide us resources when we don't feel safe enough to use the ones that the Army gives us. We're a little bit timid. We're a little bit scared of using the VA. We don't want people to know our secrets. So there are nonprofits out there that can help you. Now with the 988 hotline.
Yeah.
And with organizations like Hick Strong and the Cohen Veteran Foundation, things like that are out there for us that we didn't have 20 years ago, and so those types of resources I feel are so necessary and so valuable for those of us who are still a little bit afraid to go seek the official counseling.
And really we're trained to be so strong, and we're trained that it's all about strength, and there's no vulnerability in strength.
Right.
And and I know this, being a man and a father and stuff, it's taken me many years to actually see that there's also, there's a certain amount of strength to actually ask for help, to have that helping hand. Tell us about a super inspiring story, that you may have that you can offer that may resonate with the community who's watching now.
So I have many personal stories. I have a 19-year-old son and a 22-year-old daughter, and raising them in this type of environment where there's that stigma on mental health is very difficult, especially when I'm going through it myself. So how do I help them to move forward and know that it's okay to not be okay? It's okay to have feelings, especially as a young man and a young woman in this society. And so they inspire me to keep going because I need to show them that it's okay. I want to leave a legacy for them. And so every day, I do this for them so that when I'm gone, they can say, Mom fought hard for us to be able to use our voice in this world.
Well, I see it. I saw it in the classroom. You're a fighter. You're a heart-centered, servant, and that's what I love about you. But you're very, very process-oriented. And my last question, I really want to pull something out of you is, what is one claim to fame that you've had either in civilian life or in military life that you would like to brag about just a little bit? Because I always believe for as much as we do to others, it's okay to, pat ourselves on the back, and actually express some things that we're actually proud ourselves that we've done in our lifetime.
I am proud to still be here. I am proud of myself for, asking God for the strength to continue to keep moving and to have been able to write a book and to speak my truth and to share my story and for my family to, still be here with me, even with all the ugliness that I displayed in the years. So to even be here as a speaker was huge for me.
Yeah.
And so that it's hard.
You got up there and you were like, you're kind of like shaking a little bit.
Yes.
And I kid you now, all of a sudden you got this like the spiritual download, and then you started getting strength, and you were starting to go, and I saw it like just unfold in front of us. All of a sudden, it was like the major in you came out, the mom in you came out. The person that helps others came out, and I was just so impressed by that. But I also want everyone to know that they can get a hold of you. I mean, you have a podcast, you have best-selling book, you have your organization. Tell everyone out there in this StreamYard radio land how they can get a hold of you.
You can actually go straight to my website, a wildridecalledlife.com.
A wild ride. Wait.
A wildridecalledlife.com.
I like that. A wildridecalledlife.com. Well, thank you so much for being on here today. Hey.
Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that, Annette. And so absolutely. So throughout the day today, we're going to have different individuals coming in to I'm going to be interviewing them, talking about their pre-military, their military, and their post-military, and what they, what their gifts are for the world. So again, thank you so much, Annette, for being on here. You are a lovely rock star, and you go rock it tonight at the gala.
Thank you so much.
I see the sauntering out there.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, we are. Oh my goodness, what a great person. I mean, she is so amazing, Annette Wittenberger. So we are waiting for our next guest. She's coming up here now. I see her trotting along. Oh my goodness, literally. Oh my goodness. I just want to start off with this. You got to help me with your name, Paolo.
Paola.
Paola. See, everyone, I'm with Paola now. I mean, oh my goodness, if that doesn't scream Italian, I don't know what does. Paola in your last name.
Grazie mille.
Oh, say that again.
Grazie mille.
Say superstar.
In Italian?
Yeah.
No, I don't know.
Okay. At any rate,
But I speak Spanish.
I am here. I am here. Paolo. It's just like, so we're just having some fun here at the Military Influencers Conference in Las Vegas, Nevada. We've been here for about a day and a half. There's been amazing classes, lots of breakouts, some tremendous speakers, such as even Rob Riggle was out here. And, a lot of you know him as like an amazing, Marine and now comedian of all things. Marine the comedian. I mean, that's almost an oxymoron. But it's so cool, isn't it? So Paola, tell me a little bit about, your background, before you got into the military. Tell me about that.
So my
first
husband,
life.
I'm the military spouse.
Oh, you're the military
I'm the
spouse.
spouse.
So tell me,
Yeah.
how about
Before.
pre-Mr.
Oh,
spouse?
man.
Tell us a little bit about your life.
So I am from Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Is that in the U.S.? Tulsa, Oklahoma?
Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Wow.
My family immigrated from South America. I have I think we talked about this earlier when we met. I'm that Eastern European mutt. And I've always just had a heart of serving and giving. And I met my husband who hates this. He hates the way I say it.
Okay, husband, this is going to come back to you.
Right? Met him at a bar in Norman.
A bar in Norman, the
Yeah.
Sooner capital, right?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oklahoma.
I know Oklahoma because I actually used to work for Harold's,
Oh.
which was a store out of Oklahoma, and they're actually known to be the first actual textile manufacturer that used CAD to design clothing. So there's a little bit of tip. There's the connection. There's a connection. So you married your husband, and all of a sudden you become an MIL spouse.
Right.
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 So how did that change life? What did that do in your world?
I didn't even know about the military. My mom had worked with, and she's a psychiatrist. She had worked with military people and things like that. So that was my only connection. I didn't know anything.
Oh, wow.
Anything about it. And so we got married, and 6 months later we moved overseas, and it was awesome.
So
I fully embraced it.
So it was like awesome because like everyone's different. Some people they go and they're like, oh my goodness, I'm lonely. I'm away from family for the first time. I mean, Tulsa is the most beautiful city in the world. How could I leave this? And now all of a sudden you're overseas. I mean, what created that space for you to really just embrace that?
Well, I think it's my background. So culturally, my family really instilled that in me. And so we traveled. We had been to Europe a couple of times. And when my husband was up for orders, I was like, well, what are our choices? And Italy was on there. And I said, what the hell do you need to do to go to Italy? I was like,
I can see that. I would be like, here, sign me up as well.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing like Italy. My mom went to Italy and she says, I'm going back.
I mean,
She said the food actually tastes like food there.
yes. When you come back, you cannot go to Olive Garden. You will be so disappointed.
I mean, really, what is Olive Garden anyway? That's like food in the bag that they warm up.
The breadsticks about it. That's about it.
Well, maybe their salad, the infinite salad like that. So so how many years did you spend, as a military wife, or are you still now?
So we're about a year away from officially him being retired. So
Okay.
it's been 15 years married, 17 years together. So I went through the whole process of being a girlfriend and and having his friends' wives get me on base when he would get back but couldn't leave the base.
Right.
So I've learned to navigate that, and now we're at a space where like all of our friends have retired or moved away, and so by the time he retires, it's going to be in 26, 27 years.
Oh my gosh. Well, so what have you learned about yourself, in this kind of crazy ride?
Oh man, that I can do things on my own.
Really?
Yeah, there's some things I can do and some things I won't, like when the mice come in the house.
Okay.
Don't want to do that.
Yeah, anything but the mice, everyone out
The
there,
mice and the possum, the dead possum. I mean, every military wife has a story about
the
a
dead
deployment.
possum.
Do you want to hear the story?
I don't know. Do you want to hear the story? I don't know. I might want to hear the story.
Yeah.
So, let's give a couple of minutes on a possum story.
Okay, so military spouses,
typically it's like when your husband deploys, something happens.
Yeah.
Right, like something happens.
Invariably.
Yeah, so this time I had been telling my husband, like, dude, I think I see a mouse. Like, I see a mouse. He's like, no, everything's fine,
Right,
no
yeah.
problem. And they gotta come out. Someone's gotta come out. Anyway,
Yeah.
so he is home for like 3 hours.
Yeah.
He comes home, the pest control people show up. They are in the garage, and he's like, they're running all around us, all these mice. What? And I'm like, I told you. So they start taking care of it. Well, that night, the mice come in the house.
Well, of course, right? Because you're sleeping, then there's no movement.
Yeah.
So they're like, this is prime time.
I'm in the kitchen. I jump in the sink. I jump in my sink. And I call my neighbor. I go, I need you to come over. There's a mouse in my house. He's like, okay. So he comes over. We take care of the mouse. Next day, I take out the trash. And I'm like, I open the door, and there's a white, big-ass possum.
Really?
And then I say, maybe he's playing possum. I'll check later.
Yeah.
Okay. Come home. He's still there.
Oh.
So who do I call?
Yep.
My neighbor. My neighbor goes, listen, Poe, things are getting bigger over here. If you find a body, don't call me.
Okay. I know,
So-
you're just making more.
Anyway,
So before you go, I just you've been at the military influence conference. You've gotten to see a lot of people, probably taken a few classes. And what advice would you have for a new spouse of someone who's been deployed? Just one thing that they could have as a takeaway.
You're asking for a new spouse, and their spouse is deployed. Take this opportunity to get to know yourself. Do something for you that you may have been putting off because you've been enjoying and embracing this new life that you have, and this is your opportunity to do something for you.
I love that, Helen. Thank you so much. Oh my goodness. Oh, we're like family already here. Thank you so much. Oh my goodness. I mean, was she wonderful or what? I learned so much. I never knew so much about possums and mice, but I do now. So that's pretty amazing. Oh, we are having our next guest coming up here right now. Oh my goodness. There's a little bit of a jog between, the green room, this unique green room here at MIL, and what we have here is a makeshift backdrop and everything. And let me say, we are with Stephanie Lincoln. Oh my goodness. So Stephanie Lincoln is here. So Stephanie, like I did with our other interviews, just tell us a little bit about your background before you decided to join in the military. Tell us a little bit about that.
Before, that was a long time ago, because I did join when I was 17 years old.
As did I, so I know those years ago. It's like, I
can remember?
I know. Let me get the photo album out, right?
Right?
So what was life like, before you joined?
It was fine. I was a military brat. My dad was in the Navy, so I actually got accepted to fashion school, believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah, and love your jacket, fabulous.
Thank you.
So,
I appreciate it.
but here's what happened. I got accepted to fashion school, and then I went to my parents and was so excited, and they said, how are you going to pay for that? And I was like, oh, you guys don't have tons of money waiting for me to put me to college? They're like, no. My dad was an enlisted Navy guy, and he had 4 kids. I mean, they could barely afford to feed us, let alone send us to college. So guess what they said? How about you join the military and you can pay for college and go to whatever college you want to go to? So that's how I ended up in the Army.
So in your world, it was out of need for you and necessity for them to get you out a little bit.
Exactly. Yes.
So tell us a little bit about your military career and some of the roles that you had during that time frame.
So I joined a finance unit, not because I liked finance by any means, but because my uncle was in that unit. So he got recruiting credits for getting me in, right?
It's all about the credits, everyone. It's all about don't let them kid you,
So I don't know what kind of bonus check he got from that, but he got it. So.
He instead of, mac and cheese, he got chili mac and cheese.
Yeah, there you go. So in finance, not like I had any kind of passion for it. And but then I was supposed to become an NCO, went through the schooling, and I sat on the top of the promotion list for a year. and didn't get promoted. This was pre 9/11,
Yeah.
so there was a lot of stagnation in the military with sitting in the E5 slots and not letting these young up and coming soldiers get their slots. So I became very frustrated. I wanted to be an NCO. My father was an NCO.
Right.
But so basically, my battalion XO, who was a female, the only female officer I'd ever met in my life,
Right.
pulled me aside and said, "I want you to go to the OCS. I want you to be an officer."
That is, I mean, what an honor.
Yes,
I mean,
it was very
really,
flattering.
what an honor. And so, what did you learn about your experience? Going from enlisted to commissioned. What were because there is some transition there, I'd imagine.
Yeah. I think it set me up for success because I know both sides of the coin, and in the Army we're called Mustangs.
Yeah.
And we spent time as enlisted and time as an officer. So it helped me when I was a butter bar lieutenant coming in as a platoon leader and brand new to a unit, and these soldiers looking at me like giving me the eye, going, "Who's this lady?"
Not only you're a young buck, you're a young buck who's a female.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
so I
something
had
else.
two things stacked against me there, and as soon as and I remember a soldier coming right up to me on my first day saying, are you a ROTC? Are you just a direct commission? Where and I was like, oh no, I was enlisted.
Yeah.
And I was supposed to be an E5. I just didn't get promoted.
Oh my goodness.
And I mean, this word spread, and everybody was cool with me, and it made my job a lot easier as a platoon leader because they're like,
Oh my
she knows what we have been through and what we go through on a daily basis.
So I mean, you learned a lot from both angles. But what is it? How's it helped you in the after military career? And what inspired you to do what you're doing now?
Yeah. So huge advantage coming out of the military. I got out after 10 years, and I basically I feel like I got right back in because I started working in the world of military contracting.
Yeah.
I was specifically in military behavioral health, and because of my military experience, I went through the ranks very quickly. Like I was promoted to a supervisory position within like 6 months of joining. And I mean, all of my jobs before that, it was the same way. So it gave me a leg up, and I ended up in a very high position working out of the Pentagon, running multi-million-dollar behavioral health contract for the Department of Defense.
Right.
So very high-level work.
So I mean, you also had organizational skills, leadership skills, even heart set skills.
Oh yeah.
And so with that said, in your life now, post military, but kind of serving the military, I always like to say this because much of the time we don't self-educate, etiquette, so what I'm asking is, tell me something, about you that's like maybe a claim to fame, in your career in the military, because edification, I think, see what I said, it's so hard, when you're, when you serve and you live a life of service, sometimes it's so hard to figure out how to pat yourself on the back.
Right.
But if you were to pat yourself on the back, what would you tell yourself?
For my military service claim to fame?
Military or your civilian life, contract life?
Okay. Well, I think my husband tells me this all the time, and he brags about me all the time. He's super supportive. He's my biggest cheerleader. But he says, she's a soldier's soldier. I'm a soldier's soldier. Like, I have always been willing to get down and dirty and do the work and lead from the front instead of like pointing my finger and saying, you need to go do this.
Yeah, total responsibility, accountability for everything. Everyone, I am with Stephanie Lincoln. She is with the Fire Team Whiskey. Just tell us, how can people get a hold of you? You're here for a reason, and I just want to make sure that everyone, if they want to reach out to you, they know how to get a hold of you.
Yeah, Fire Team Whiskey. So we provide trauma resolution, life transformation coaching, personal training through our master military fitness trainers, and nutrition coaching. So we provide all the holistic wellness services that maybe you're not getting from the VA or TRICARE services. So we fill in those gaps of total wellness.
Yeah, how important is that? And I am a total advocate of total holistic health, at every level, because I believe also physical health and mental health go hand in hand. Stephanie, thank you so much for being here. Again, everyone, it's Stephanie from Fire Team Whiskey.
FireTeamWhiskey.com.
Let's do it. All right, thank you. To my military family, I love it. And again, hey everyone, I am just standing in right now. My name is Robert Jones. I United States Marines, 1983 to 1989, filling in for Daniel Faust's shoes. I mean, what a rock star. He won the competition of being the Mr. Social, media influencer or something like that at the at the MIC, the Military Influencers Conference. And I'm so excited. I have my next guest up here. She's sitting down here. She is hot and fresh. It's on Friday. We wear, show them, come on now.
We wear red on Friday.
Oh my goodness. So what I'm doing, what is your name?
I'm Heidi Hansing, and I'm with Wheelchairs for Warriors.
Hey, this is Heidi Hansen. She's Wheelchairs for Warriors. And, and I'm glad she's here today. So what we're doing, Heidi, is I'm asking a few questions about, what was life like actually before you started your service?
My service in the military or my service with the nonprofit?
Before you served in the military.
I was a child.
No, come on.
I was a child. I started my military service when I was 17.
Just like
so I literally was a child.
That in common.
Darling.
Yeah, I know. Where were you born and where did you live and how was family life?
Okay, well, I was born in Minnesota.
Say it again, Minnesota?
Minnesota.
There we go.
Minnesota. And spent a year in Israel with my family.
Really?
As a small child. Moved back to Wisconsin, so I was raised a cheesehead. Go Pack!
Minnesota, Wisconsin, so Gophers and cheese and all that sort of good stuff.
Keep it all in the Midwest, the nice Midwest.
Right.
But then when I was 17, I joined the Army. And that was during obviously a very formative time in my life, to be a young teenage girl and then to go into a pretty much a mostly male dominated field. Loved it.
Hey, why not? It's like women can have harems too. Let's call it hymns or something like that.
Who doesn't love a man in uniform?
Right. Oh my goodness.
But no, it was a very formative time in my life. And I was simultaneously enlisted, but also being trained as an officer. So I did get my commission.
Okay.
And then I went and served overseas.
Which there was another uniqueness of its own during that time frame as well, right?
Yes, indeed. Certainly.
So you're a total trailblazer.
I'm not that old.
Well, I'm not. No. Let's say that.
I know what you mean.
So let's examine this a little bit more. So what did you learn during your time frame in the military in your service?
Well, one of the earliest lessons that I learned early on was that my NCOs could make or break me as a leader.
Yeah.
And so I had learned when I was enlisted that the real backbone of the Army, that I was a U.S. Army officer, the real backbone of the Army is the NCO.
Right.
And that if I were to become a good, competent, trustworthy leader, I needed to be taught by my NCOs, learn it from the best. And I was blessed to have very accomplished, experienced NCOs in my life, especially the high-ranking NCOs. A lot of them were Vietnam era.
But and trust is an issue too. Sometimes, you don't always get an instant trust either, do you?
No, that's got to be earned, right?
Absolutely,
we know that's got to be earned.
It has to be earned. So you carried this probably from your military service into what you're doing now. What inspired you to do what you do now?
Well, my partner in crime, who's standing right over there behind the camera.
I see her. Yeah, she should come over here, but she's not going to get in front of that camera.
Next.
She wants to be behind. Oh, you're next. Okay.
You'll meet her next.
Okay.
We both had served in multiple nonprofits, basically kind of keeping our hands in the veteran sphere, in the veteran world, so to speak, and wanting to still serve this community, and really found that there were some flaws and some, let's say, best practices that were being missed.
Yeah.
And we saw an opportunity to fill a niche where we figured institutionalized care was creating some cracks in the way that our veterans are cared for after they're injured. And we wanted to fill that gap. We wanted to basically create a safety net. So what we do is we design and custom build wheelchairs, mobility solutions for veterans and first responders that have been injured in the line of duty. And we have a secondary program for those that are not necessarily injured in the line of duty, but that have served their country, and we believe that they deserve better options for their mobility.
Agreed.
So that's what we do in a nutshell.
Really, mobility is everything for person.
You
There's a
know
certain
it.
amount of freedom to it, in everywhere.
Right.
So I do this at the end. I mean, what is a claim to fame? Because a lot of times, as servants to others, we never pat ourselves on the back. A claim to fame. The civilian or in the military that you want to let everyone know that you're proud of that you've done in your life.
Outside of our nonprofit that we built.
You bet.
Well, I'm the proud mother of some amazing children. My son went to West Point and served in the Army as well as a military intelligence officer.
See, she's too young for that. I don't know how that happened. I mean, I got a 22-year-old sitting next to me. I don't know what type of time warp she came from, but
I'm very proud of my son and my daughter. My daughter is she's a business owner herself. She is an entrepreneur, and she is just crushing it out in California as a marketing executive of her own firm. So
I love it.
I would have to, and I know that sounds odd to say, well, what's one of your greatest accomplishments? And then to say, well, my kids. But the mission for Wheelchairs for Warriors is something that I'm really proud of, and that has kept me kind of immersed in the veteran community where I continue to serve. And don't forget, it's not all completely selfless, because I get something too, and I get the fulfillment and I get the camaraderie of remaining in the circle where I'm most comfortable. My wheelhouse is the veteran community.
And I always tell people that is A-OK.
Thank you.
Over the last year and a half, entrepreneurs, who've struggled quite a bit. They said, there's two things they want more than anything else. They want a place where they can have a little bit of fun, and they want to be able to be fulfilled.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you're doing. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. You're a rock star.
Thank you for having us.
Friday is Red. Tell us about how people can get a hold of you.
Okay, so our website is wheelchairsforwarriors.org, and you can look for us under all social media under the same name. And if you are interested in getting a We Wear Red, I almost said that.
Yeah.
Say that 3 times really fast.
She sells.
We Wear
she
Red.
sells.
Yes. We do have some fabulous swag, and every purchase on our website, basically you become a walking billboard for our mission to serve our fellow veterans. But also every dollar goes back towards the mission. So you're supporting a great mission. Getting these guys and gals mobile again, it decreases their isolation, boosts their mental health, and that's what we're all about.
Yeah,
right?
I can only imagine all energy. Well, thank you so much.
Your energy is great. Speaking of which, thank you.
It's all the jacket. It's all about
this
the jacket.
is styling right here. Woo! I feel
thank
happy
you so
to
much.
sit next to you.
Well, thank you. All right. Again, I'm Robert Jones. I'm here at the Military Influencers Conference. I'm a guest hosting on the Warhero, the superhero show, which usually features Daniel Faust. But I mean, right now he's just partying like a rock star. I mean, he is the uber social media guru at this event. Number one, everyone. So I just get to keep his seat warm until probably the next time he gets on air. How you doing?
Hello.
Welcome. I am with.
I need to move your screen up a little
No, let's see. Right there. Joe Lasky. I'm with Joe Lasky, everyone. And Joe and I are going to. Let's just. Hey, that's okay. We can. You know what? This is authentic radio. Here we go. We're doing this. So what I've been doing is I've been asking everyone who's been coming over there, just tell me a little bit about your upbringing, your background before you decided to join the military.
Well, I grew up in Central Illinois. Pretty normal childhood. Upper middle class family. Mom cleaned houses. Dad worked at the power plant. I have an older sister. She went off to college and did great things. I went off to college and did not so great things. And decided the Army was a great chance to restart my life and get me going in the right direction again.
Yeah, and so what were some of the things that just really sparked you to say, I'm going to join the Army, that branch?
If I was going to join the military or, service, I wanted to do military stuff. And so, I wanted to be in the infantry and do Army things. And then I figured, if I'm going to try that, I might as well do a Ranger contract and see if I can make it into that. So I went ahead and went through that, and it ended up being a good 4 years for me.
So what did you learn in your 4 years of service?
That's a hard question. I think throughout my service, one of the things is, you just can't do it on your own. Every accomplishment, everything you do in life, everything you do in the military, you do after the military, it really just comes from that team environment. Even in regards to mental health, physical health, for personal, professional growth and success. It's what we learn from each other, who we can depend on, who we can utilize in that moment in order to get forward and accomplish that next goal in our life. I think that's something that's reinforced time and time again with everything you do in the military. Is that it's just not you. You're always part of a team. You're always part of a group. You always have people watching your six.
And what I really enjoy about what you're saying is so much of the time we don't really talk about it outside sometimes in the circles. But if you look at what your service is in the military, it really is a people person job as much as anything else, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It's where everything talks about servant-led leadership and people first. And that's like the people are the mission. The USA took that for themselves for a banking thing, but the fact of the matter is that's how the military works. Like we run on the strength of our soldiers, our airmen, Marines, Space Force Guardians, and everybody else.
Yeah. So you got out for 4 years. What inspired you to do what you're doing now?
When I got out in 2006, and my transition wasn't bad by any means, but it was very rough just because you get out in one place in the country, and normally a lot of people don't stay there. They move all the way across the country again. And what you find out is that different states, different parts of the country have different programs and services, and they can make your transition a lot smoother, a lot easier. And one thing I learned early on is the vet center usually had those answers, at least where I was in Springfield, Illinois, and I realized this was an organization I wanted to be a part of. So I learned about what I needed to do educationally to become a counselor. So I went through social work school, and I went forward and joined the vet center because I really support the mission and what they're doing, and just helping that transition that much easier for veterans who are coming home.
Well, what are some of the most satisfying stories you have, working at the vet center?
Honestly, it's just kind of anytime you get somebody who's coming for that first time, and no matter what the issue is,
right?
Just asking about how to utilize their VA home loan or GI bill to, wanting individual counseling for PTSD or some sort of mental health issue. When you first get to sit down with them and build that rapport and to be able to just have a real conversation with them, because we fall outside the medical model and how we practice. Right. So we're not going to go through a script. We're not going to go through a 10-page screen or before you get back and start talking to a counselor and start talking to somebody. You just get to be able to make that connection, on that very first visit, and really just kind of get it from a little like, hey, I'm not here just to give you another 1-800 number or shelf you off on somebody else. But I'm here to do a warm handoff. I'm here to really listen to you about it. No matter what your issue is, big or small.
Well, I mean, it's your mission. It goes back to your mission is to serving the people. That's everyone that you've been with, everyone that you serve now, and that you meet. I like to always ask this question: edification. If you were to pat yourself on the back and have a claim to fame or something that you're really proud of in the last few years, what does that look like?
Honestly, I just look at I've been now in the military, either in the Army or the Army National Guard now for almost 21 years, and for me, it's looking at and seeing the soldiers who I've led either as a team leader and squad leader in the infantry to be an OCS instructor, even working now as a behavioral health officer. It's seeing people who at some point in their career were underneath me and I was in charge of, who are now doing bigger and better things than even I did, and to be able to say that hey, I was there for them. Hopefully that initial stages for them, and I hopefully showed what right looked like and was able to help them achieve those things.
So what is the biggest misconception about the vet center, even within our own military?
I think probably one of the biggest things, this is probably not necessarily vet center specific, but I would say mental health in general. And I always like to draw a lot of parallels between physical health and mental health. I always like to tell people about when it comes to engaging in mental health and talking to a professional, is that if I've never been in a gym before in my life, and I just go into a gym and I start following people around. Somebody picks up weights and does this, so I pick up weights and do that. Somebody gets on the elliptical and does this, so I do that. In 6 months, if I do that for an hour a day, 5 days a week, I'm going to be in better shape than I started. Now, I'm not going to probably be in the best shape. I'm not going to be, excellent. I'm not going to be winning Mr. Universe or marathons like that. But I'll be better. But that kind of follow people around and do what they do is how 90% of us have learned to deal with stress, anxiety, communication, relationships, goal setting and stuff. We just do what the people around us do. And it works to some extent. However, if I go back to that gym 6 months ago and I walk up to a personal trainer and I say, hey, I want to look like this anymore. I want to look like this fit fellow here next to me, right? And he goes, all right, great. Let's talk about dieting, exercise, healthy goal setting, building programs,
looking at the holistic,
exactly,
things, right?
And teaching me what all those things actually mean instead of just doing what other people are doing around me and how to apply it to my life. Now, not only is that 6 months going to be that much more beneficial, I'm going to have the tools necessary to go forward.
Yeah.
That's the exact same thing with mental health. Walking into a vet center or walking into a mental health facility and saying, hey, I want help. I want somebody to help me. I'm looking to, build this next chapter of my life in the most successful, efficient way possible. That's not admitting you're weak. That's not admitting you're broken. That's just saying you just want to have a better way to move forward. And that's all we're doing is helping people find a better path forward.
And it's always, first steps, no matter what, in every way. So how can people get in touch with you, reach you, know where you're located, maybe even have a conversation with you since they've heard you here.
So I'm the director here at the Las Vegas Vet Center. You can Google this Las Vegas Vet Center. You can find us through the VA, find your facilities search engines. But no matter where you are in the states, there's a vet center in every state in U.S. territory. So we have the entire United States covered, and wherever you are, there should be a vet center to help you. And we're one of the best resources for local information in regards to state, county, city veterans programs, along with not-for-profits in the area who might help them with socioeconomic issues.
So in many ways, it's the first best place to start.
Absolutely, I say that all the time because if I'm in Oklahoma at Fort Sill, and I ETS to California, well, Fort Sill's not going to have all the information on me for California or New York or Maine or Alaska, wherever I may go home to, but that vet center will. And and if you're agents for long conservative, if you're just coming in for that, simple question of like, where do I go to find a good resume writer? Where do I go to access my agenda? How do I start my education methods? The vet center's going to have those answers for you. They're going to have it at that level that you need.
Well, I appreciate so much for you coming on to the show today and expressing with everyone, what you're doing.
Thank you.
Hey, again, this is right here. Look at it right here. It's right here, everyone. It's Joseph Lasky. He is here, at the Military Influencers Conference. Thank you so much for joining us and taking out some time.
Take care.
All right. Again, I'm Robert Jones. I'm just sitting here for Daniel Faust. I'm at the Military Influencers Conference. We've had many great speakers, come from the stages, and I always say, pages and everything else. So I am looking forward to my next guest who will be coming over here, and he's coming over here right now. He's taking that walk from our makeshift green room, here, in what is this, the Orchid Ballroom or something like that. Look at this, sitting down, looking at dapper. Oh my goodness, it is. How are you doing?
I am doing well, but I think we're a little cut off here.
We are. We're playing with the camera, but that's what makes it a little bit authentic here. Oh,
not quite.
Not quite. Look at that. Okay, now
that's too much.
That's say. Everyone's suggesting, put out your hands and let's just adjust a little
bit. All right, let's call that close enough for government.
I would say that is totally close. So how's the conference been so far for you?
It's been outstanding. As always, Cortez and the team have put together an amazing event. Lots of great people here, lots of opportunities to network, to learn, and it's been phenomenal from top to bottom.
Yeah, absolutely. So what I've been doing is I've been asking everyone who's coming to be interviewed here, just to tell us a little bit about your background, prior to joining the military. Tell us a little about like where you're from, what family life was like.
Yeah. So grew up in a typical average American house.
There is no average.
No,
there is no average.
But decided I wanted to go to the military and just kind of started planning from there, getting in shape, and went and did it. And that's pretty much the story for that part of it.
Was there any inspiration or pivot point that you just knew that's what you were going to do as a young child, or maybe a little older?
I mean, as a young child, we all watched all the action movies and thought we were going to be the badass hero.
Yeah.
I'd say that certainly played a role. As I got older, my family, a lot of my family was military, so that of course was a thing. And then, I've always been very driven to take on bigger and bigger challenges. And so I figured, most people don't have what it takes to go into the military. And then I specifically chose the most difficult branch and, just took it on as a challenge and went from there.
So you said the most difficult branch. I mean, I know what that branch is myself because I was there as well. So, tell us a little bit about your Marine career, maybe some of the takeaways that you carry with you to this day.
Yeah. So, I initially joined the Marine Corps, and I was in the infantry. At some point, right after School of Infantry, I decided to try out for recon. They offered everyone there the opportunity to go take the indoc. I'm sure you know what that's like.
Yep.
So I did that, and I ended up actually not going. I was one of 3 people that passed, but I, at the last minute, chose not to take that path.
Okay.
That is something that I regret highly. So, for anyone who's, whether you're currently in the military or you're out here on the civilian world, don't have those regrets. Don't do something that's going to cause those regrets. Right?
But it opened up another door, another path for you, though, right?
It did. I went on, ended up going on to my unit, 3-2 Lima, from there, and I was there for 4 years. Had a lot of opportunities. I was really good at a lot of things, so I kept getting promoted quite quickly. Especially by any standards, but by Marine Corps standards especially. I picked up sergeant in under 3 years back in the 90s.
Oh yeah, that's a tough time to.
Yes,
believe me, I definitely realized that.
Yeah.
So so you rose up, in the ranks. You were, in the United States Marine, but then you decided to get out. What was the impetus of actually leaving your service?
It was a combination of things. One, I wanted to go on and start a business. Towards the end, we had a change of command about a year before I got out. New commanding officer came in.
New commander, new roles?
Not so much just the new rules. The guy should never have served.
Oh wow.
He was your typical guy that does everything wrong. He made a lot of mistakes that, had we gone to combat under him, I'm confident a lot of people would have ended up getting hurt or killed.
Oh wow.
When we had, my previous 2 commanding officers, especially the most recent one, anybody to this day, we're 25 years later, after we're out, would still follow both of those men into hell with nothing but an MRE spoon and a pair of silkies.
Yeah.
Right? The last one, not so much. So that did play a role, is that poor leadership that played a role in me getting out. But I knew that I wanted to go on and do other things. I knew that I had learned a lot in the military, had been given a lot of opportunities. It wasn't just the military stuff, and I was, of course, doing the infantry stuff, but I was also embedded in the headquarters element of our company,
right?
Because I was really good at the comm, the radios. I was responsible for fire missions, airstrikes, all kinds of things like that. Managed to kind of teach myself how to do things with the radio that you shouldn't technically be able to do.
Yeah.
So it's this problem-solving ability that I had the opportunity to refine. And in the Marine Corps, we've got crappy gear. Everything's outdated.
Everything's passed down. I lived a lifetime of it.
Right. So it definitely gives us the opportunity to adapt, improvise, and overcome, as we say. Gives you the ability to refine that skill set, which I think is valuable both in the military and out.
Yeah, and I was going to say that's really helped you with the clients that you have now. What inspired you to take on your career that you're leading now?
So it wasn't as much of an inspiration as just kind of like...
Well, don't say desperation, right?
No, never. I don't believe in desperation.
Good.
Yeah. So essentially, I ran, from the time I got out, I started my first agency. The first one failed miserably. But then I started another one a few years later, ran that successfully for many years until, as you know the story, I had that health crisis that nearly killed me.
Yeah.
And spent about 2 years on my deathbed. And from there, when I came back off the deathbed, still sick, mind you, and still dealing with all the health problems, but, we had burned through hundreds of thousands of dollars just trying to stay alive, while the business dwindled down to zero. So, I basically had to reinvent myself very quickly. And I ended up leveraging public relations to put myself back on the map in a very big way, very quickly. And, from there, I realized, well, hey, this is something that everyone needs. We've got all these people who are entrepreneurs. They're great at what they do, but nobody knows who they are. Right. So we pivoted to focusing on this. We take that same approach that I used to rebuild my own life. We use that approach to take these people who are experts at what they do and position them as a recognized authority in their industry, so they can.
Yeah, and let the audience know. I mean, amazing. When it comes to accelerating entrepreneurs' business, tell us some of the things that you actually do, practically or tactically, for those entrepreneurs.
Yeah. So essentially, we start by pulling everything out of their brain, right? We have to figure out who they are, why they do what they do.
Yeah, I know. I had a commanding officer who said sometimes you need to be brainwashed. You have to say, sometimes you just need to be brainwashed. You got to start all over again.
Absolutely.
So that's in a way that's what you're doing.
Yes. Well, and that's the beauty of it is
breaking them down.
Right. Well, not even so much that. It's a matter of, like, look, we're all great at whatever it is that we do. Right. But a lot of times we don't realize how great we are because it's something that we take for granted, right? You're up here doing these interviews. This is something you're great at. If you talk to somebody else, you're probably going to downplay the significance of that, right? Because it's just something you take for granted because it's something you do every day.
Yeah, and it's fun. It's for me. I just like being up here and we just get to hang out and talk. We're buds. So I get it, and but you have those same superpowers too.
Yeah.
And that's why like at the end of every interview, at least on this show today, I always ask if you were to pat yourself on the back, if it was something that was really great, claim to fame, what would that look like? What would that be?
Oh, you mean what would I pat myself on?
Yeah.
So that's a good question. I kind of suck at doing that, frankly. So
I agree. That's why I asked that question because you and I, we serve others so much and we help them find their superpowers. Because I always say God gives us all gifts. It's our job to help build the pathways so the people that we serve can utilize their gifts best.
Yeah,
that's it. You can't build it on dirt and sand. You need to make it a super highway.
Yes.
Like concrete.
Right.
But the same thing. It's like people ask me that question. I'm like, oh my goodness. I'm like, I really don't know. I can't even think of what I've done great in my life. Other than I set the Marine Corps record for sit-ups. Okay, I just want to say that, so I'm putting that out there. That's my claim to fame. All right, Marine Corps record for sit-ups.
Good stuff. Well, to answer the question, I think I would break it down into two separate facets. One of them, on the business side, of course, is I'm great at getting people featured and helping to elevate them to authority status. On the personal side, I think that one of my things that I really should pat myself on the back for is the ability to overcome adversity. And for context, what I'm talking about here is, I don't know if we talked about this before, but with the whole health crisis thing, I faced a lot of challenges. Not that I ever wanted to die, or not that I ever wanted to take my life. There was times when I'd be walking through the house, and there's nuts all over the house. And the thought would certainly cross my mind at the peak of all this health stuff when I was in massive pain. I would, see one of these firearms somewhere, everywhere in my house, and I would be like, not that I want to go, but that would be an easy way out.
Yeah.
And it was around this time that one of the toughest grades that I ever served ended up taking his life. And that was a huge pivot point for me because, this guy, he was one of the toughest guys I ever knew. And he took this path, which so many of our other veterans are doing.
Right.
And here I am, and I'm having the same thoughts, and I know how tough I am. And for me, that was where I started reaching out to a lot of other veterans and counseling. And, at this point, several years later, I've counseled probably thousands of veterans. And I know that because several of them have told me this, that as a result of this, that I've saved them from suicide. And there's an undetermined number of other people who we've had varying levels of impact that we'll never know exactly how.
Right.
But I think that is probably, in my opinion, even bigger than the business side because
you help also you redefine the framework, the paradigm for those that are out. You find it in their business, so they actually do their mission and their purpose. That's what I think that you do really well. So tell people out there, how can they get a hold of you? If you guys want to be a rock star and you want to get out there in the media and get your message going, this is the man right here. Tell everyone how to get a hold of you.
I'm easy to find, man, given what I do. I've set it up specifically that way. If you Google my name, Jeremy Knopf, you will find pages and pages and pages. My website, social media, everything's out there. Just Google me, you'll find me.
Jeremy Knopf. Jeremy, thank you so much for being interviewed today. Semper Fi. It's my pleasure having you here.
My pleasure to be here.
Thank you, everyone. I was just with Jeremy. You can Google him. He will come up. He is your next PR rock star. So, you want to get your mission, your message out there, please contact Jeremy. I am ready for my next guest. Again, my name is Robert Jones. I'm just sitting in the seat for Daniel Faust. I'm here at the Military Influencers Conference. We are in Las Vegas. We are we're working on our second full day in. It's been a fantastic place to meet people, hear stories and create connections. And so I have, who do I have?
Erica Limco.
Erica Limco. I'm seeing it right there.
Maiden name was Jones, so hey,
oh my goodness. Hey, we're Jones and Jones here hanging out with each other. So yes. I have an affinity, everyone, for realtors. I believe, if you get a realtor, they're one of the best persons in your financial toolkit that you can ever have. And I mean that seriously. I used to be a computer programmer and coder for Realtor.com back in the day. And it was us against Microsoft. And you know what, everyone? Realtor.com won. The National Association of Realtors.com. So thank you. Good to meet you as well. And so I'm just doing a little bit of interviewing. And what I'm really doing is I want to talk about, your background, your early years, like maybe before you joined the military.
Yeah.
Tell us about what life was like as young Erica.
Well, I joined the Army at 17.
This is crazy. It's like everyone that's come on today has said, I joined the Army at 17. I joined the Marines at 17. I've joined the Marines at 17. So, there must be something to 17. It's like, are we just trying to get out of the house?
Yeah, so I was going to say that I'm from Louisville, Kentucky, and if you've not been there, you're probably running away from something if you join the Army. Maybe gunshots. I don't know.
I know. I bet the Louisville Slugger, Cassius Clay. Isn't there all this greatness in Louisville?
There is. But a lot of them probably achieved their greatness after they got out of Louisville, unfortunately.
So maybe it's an incubator for greatness.
I think so. There are a lot of talented, intelligent people that come from there. I like to say, if you're familiar with Kentucky, it's the home of the Kentucky Derby is in Louisville, and it's the home of beautiful horses and fast women, depending on the neighborhood you're in.
Well, I don't know. It's not that show, everyone. I'm not sure why Erica's.
Hey, I left. I left the neighborhood. I wasn't that fast. So
oh my
God.
Yeah. So did you have a family, military family, or
No.
you just decided one day I'm just going to get up and serve and get out?
Well, my grandfather on my dad's side, my paternal grandfather was in the Marines during, I think, Vietnam or Korea or something, but he didn't go overseas. It was just that's what they were doing then. I think it was Korea.
Right.
But no, the recruiter came around in our high school. If you went to the ASVAB, you got out of class, and I loved getting out of class.
Hey, gotta love
So,
that. Yep.
Well, and then I did really well.
In other ways besides detention, right?
Yeah. So I did really well. So the recruiter's like, hey, you did really well. You want to join the military? I'm like, no. But they kept calling me, and when I was in my senior year, I accidentally got in a little car accident, and my parents were like, we're taking away your car until you're 18. I don't turn 18 until October.
Uh-oh.
I was like, I can't be without my car for 6 months. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to show you. I'm moving out. I'm joining the Army.
Oh my goodness. So tell me about your time in the Army. What roles did you have? How long did you serve?
Well, I was a bit of a knucklehead, so I did 23 years active duty.
23 years.
Yeah,
okay.
I know. I kicking and screaming the whole way.
Little life for you. Oh my God.
I absolutely loved it. Most of the time, but any of my leadership that sees this will know that I was kind of a pill. But if you can wrangle those strong personalities, they'll earn dividends for you.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what my story was. I came in as Signal Corps, stayed Signal Corps the entire time, worked my way up to be a first sergeant, which is an EA in the Army.
Yeah.
And I loved what I did, and I've always wanted to have a company. And so I finally got to where I was the first sergeant, had a company, and really felt like I could make a difference in soldiers' lives.
Yeah.
So that was what I wanted to achieve, and I did, and then I retired.
Yeah, no, I love that. What's something that you can take, maybe a couple of things that you can take about 23 years and that you apply it into what you do now?
Ooh, okay. I like that. So while I was in the military, in the Army, we came up with the 7 Army values, right? So everyone always debates what's the most important Army value and this, that, and the other. And so some people say honor, some people say loyalty. To me, it was integrity.
Yeah.
Integrity is number one, because if you have integrity, you're going to have honor, you're going to be a leader, you're going to do all these things. It's going to fall into place. Loyalty will come if you have integrity.
I'm right there with you, because I feel like, if you have integrity, people will follow you always.
Yes. Well,
because they know you're not going to bullshit them.
Right.
Like, you know, are we going to make it? I don't know, but this is what we got to do.
Yeah.
You know, and so I apply the same principles to real estate. I practice what I preach. I tell the truth, and I work really hard for my clients, and I want them to know what they're getting into. And if it means I don't close a deal, so be it.
Well, you know,
If it's not the
and I
best
want
thing.
everyone to know, you know, there are real estate agents and there are realtors, and they're not the same. They may have the same functions, but realtors are actually live at a higher code.
Yeah, we have a code of ethics we're held to.
Talk a little bit about the code of ethics and, you know, the integrity that you have to hold being a realtor.
Yeah. Well, so I am a realtor, a real estate broker, actually. I own a company on the island of Oahu.
Yeah.
So
A broker. So that means
Yeah.
she's responsible for every piece of paper that comes in and out of that office.
and other agents, and yeah, so it's a lot that I like responsibility.
So only a
obviously.
first sergeant would want that. So, so
I like the autonomy.
there you go.
I forgot what the question was.
Yeah. There, see, and that's also what happens after 23 years of serving.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, the first thing to go. But I have integrity. You know, but you know, so just a couple of things that you apply.
Oh yes. So integrity to all deals. I always like to let my clients know all the different outcomes. I like to say I'm like worst case scenario Sally, because I'm going to tell you all the horrible things that can happen, as well as the good things that can happen. That way we're prepared for the worst case scenario. Because if all else fails, in 3 years, I'm not going anywhere. I'm
Yeah,
still going to be
because
there.
every real estate deal goes off perfectly. Right?
No. Oh, you're talking about code of ethics. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
But-
realtors have a code of ethics. If we don't adhere to a stricter code than just what's legally, what the laws are, we can actually lose our license over ethical things.
And that's a part of your vibrant being.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it only makes sense. Like, why would you not want to have additional codes of ethics and things
Right.
to govern behavior?
Well,
It
you
should
know,
be natural. but-
So now you're serving, and for a lot of people, it is the most valuable asset in a person will ever have. And,
Yeah.
you know, and I think
Yeah.
that's so important. That's why I say, you know, a great realtor or broker in your case, you know, is someone that you want to have in your pocket,
Yeah.
you know, and utilize them again. So tell me something that you're really, really proud of. Tell me a claim to fame, you know, whether it was in the military or as a real estate broker that you would like to share with us. Because here's the thing, people that serve in the military, they can brag about a lot of stuff, but they're really bad at bragging about themselves.
Okay. Well, I mean, one thing is I got to do a shout out for my paratroopers, airborne. So yeah, I was a Fort Bragg for 8 years on status. So I'm really proud of that. Being airborne doesn't necessarily mean you're better than everyone else, but it means you can talk smack to everyone else and get away with it, and we do.
That's right. You know,
so yeah,
that's carrying a big. You know, I get it. You know, right?
Carrying a big stick or whatever, just having something to talk smack about. And then as a broker, as an agent, just going the extra mile to win a deal. Like, I don't accept no. No is not the final answer. We're going to find a way to yes. I've had at several turns clients who wanted to give up on a transaction, and I'm like, I see the enemy at the other end of the bridge, but we haven't even started crossing the bridge yet. Let's go to battle. Let's try.
Yeah.
Let's try.
Yeah. It's
And we won. We
yeah.
won both times.
You make not to be meant to be.
Yeah.
Right?
Well-
You know, you make not to be meant to be. You know, and that's what I love about it. Well, Eric, you know, thank you so much for being on the show. You know, this is great. I mean, 23 years again, that memory. No, I'm just kidding. Just tell people how they can get a hold of you. I mean, Hawaii. Come on now.
Yes.
Doesn't everyone want their second house in Hawaii?
If they don't, they just haven't been there yet. But yeah, you can find me on all the different social media platforms. Erica in Hawaii, Eric ERICA in Hawaii at Gmail, and on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn,
Erica
TikTok.
in Hawaii. Oh, yeah, here
Gotta
she
have
is.
TikTok.
Gotta have the TikTok. I mean, who doesn't have fun on TikTok? And I think Erica, not only will she work for you, serve you, you'll have fun with her. So
Well,
Erica,
my motto is real estate's a fun ride with Erica by your side.
I love it. Erica, thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for being on. You are a rock star. And can you do me one
Yes.
favor? Get me some water, please. Erica is so awesome. She's going to get me some water because I am starting to get so parched. But she is definitely a realtor rock star. Thank you so much. And so again, I'm Robert Jones. I'm on Danielle Faust's show. I'm here at the Military Influencers Conference in Las Vegas. This is the Warheroes to Superheroes. This particular concept helps people in the bedroom to the boardroom. So I'm just sitting here again. My name is Robert Jones. I served in the United States Marine Corps from 1983 to 1989. I cannot believe how that time has gone by.
Super
So
fun.
Hoorah! Thank you for that. Now I don't know your name again.
Melissa.
I am with Melissa here. So we met yesterday, and I was just like, she was like setting up, and we started talking. I was like, I like her. She is a really good person. So what we're doing, Melissa, is we're just talking a little bit about our background, like where our parents in the military, maybe where we're from, and kind of like before we started a military career, what was life like for Melissa?
Okay, all right. So we'll talk about my dad served in Vietnam.
Okay.
So,
See, her dad served in Vietnam, and that didn't stop her from serving too.
yes.
Thank you so much. Oh my goodness. See, and it's cold. I love it.
Woo-hoo,
I mean, everyone, Erica in Hawaii, everyone.
Yeah, so he served in Vietnam, and my dad is the poster child for Vietnam veterans.
Okay.
He wears the hat and the shirt.
Yeah. Is he at the VFW or?
No, he doesn't do that part.
He doesn't?
No, he
Okay.
doesn't do that part. But he does. He goes to his VA appointments, and he actually had to fight for his benefits.
What is the proudest thing about your dad that you can recall?
Well, nothing. You know what? A lot of it he didn't talk about. So he had PTS. And really, it wasn't called PTS. But
Yeah.
in the 80s and 70s,
It was called that you just served, and too bad for you. There are no services, so just deal with it, right?
Deal with it, yeah, and just go back. And I mean, literally, he came back and went R&R in Hawaii with my mom, and go back to life. Well, thank you. He came back, because if not, I wouldn't be here.
Oh, absolutely. Well, yeah, I'm glad you're here.
Yes,
So,
yeah.
so did you serve as well?
Yes, I did. So I joined the United States Navy in 1991, and had I not joined the Navy, I wouldn't have met my husband as a Marine. So that's
Hoorah! See, she's really smart. We like her.
Yes, that's my story. So served in the Navy, and when I got out of the Navy,
Well, tell us about your Navy just a little bit. What were some of the roles that you had in the Navy?
absolutely. So I was in the early 90s in the Navy, and back then women were not yet allowed on battleships, aircraft carriers, submarines, but we were allowed on certain ships.
Right.
So my first ship was USS Grapple, the original established ship in Virginia. I was in supply, and during my time on there, we did a 6-month deployment to the Mediterranean. So, 19 years old, going to different countries in the Mediterranean.
That must have been kind of, pretty awesome, right?
Oh, absolutely. Being young, single. I mean, Brenda, I had met the Marine, but we kind of went our separate ways. At that time, we met in high school. And so I always like to share, my best experience on that specific ship is we actually pulled into the Venice Canal.
Oh my gosh, the Venice
The
Canal.
Venice Canal.
Oh,
We've
my
been there.
Is this romantic or beautiful, or is it just scenic as you thought it was going to be, or was
A
it?
little bit of both, but the water's a little murky. You
Yeah.
think it's going to be this beautiful picture. But what the cool thing about that is we pulled in right in front of a German ship. And the Germans were fascinated that there were women
Really?
on a ship. And they had a full-on bar on their ship.
Well, that sounds like a cruise ship.
I know, right? Yes.
I mean, So you served in a while. You probably being one of the few female service persons in the Navy. You decided to get out at some point. What was the reason why you decided to leave?
Because I was going to marry a Marine.
Because you're going to marry a Marine, and so it's like, okay, it's time to sport, right?
It was time to get out. And I just
Yeah.
that dual service thing, you see so many men and women, it didn't work. I was deployable, he was deployable, so I got out of the Navy, walked off the ship. Next month we got married, next month we deployed. And that was 28 years ago. That started our marriage.
28 years ago. So tell me about that. I'm sure you look back and you're like, yes, you made the right decision, but you still had to have that decision point, for yourself. To say, is this what I want? Because in a way, you're also gifting some of your life to your husband to do that. What helped you with that decision to say, this is where I'm going to be now? Because believe me, it's a worthy story, because there's a lot of people, that will never go away.
Oh yeah. Well, a lot of it's supporting him and loving him, and I was ready to get out. I did a deployment to the Mediterranean. I came on the West Coast, another 6-month West Pack over there, and that was the decision was made.
Yeah.
So had I not made that decision, I wouldn't be sitting here today. Right? That was my path.
No, and I love that. So tell us a little bit about your inspiration in what you do now. with the Women's Veterans Alliance. Tell us a little bit about that.
Absolutely. So a little over 7 years ago, I was looking for opportunity to connect with other women in more professional setting. I wasn't interested in the traditional legacy groups. It just wasn't for me. And so back in 7 years ago, I got about 20 women together at a local Mexican restaurant in Sacramento, California. And what started out as a once-a-month monthly meetup group is now a nationwide organization.
That is amazing to me. So, I mean, so when you did this, you didn't necessarily really have this vision of having a nationwide organization, So when did that kind of pivot point occur? And you said, you know what, this is something that's so needed and necessary that I want to create something national.
So it started as local, and then it started as Northern California, and then it was California, and then it just grew so fast. It started out as a hobby, and it was just a once a month get together, find a speaker, or go to a restaurant. Because there is such a need for women that have served in that position.
Right. Yeah.
In that camaraderie, there's such a gap, even for the guys. I mean, there's that gap. And so we're filling the need when it comes to that gap, and everything has evolved, filling those other gaps to what we do today.
Now has the mission evolved?
Yes, it has.
Yeah, and so what does that look like now? If I'm a woman and I'm sitting there and I'm thinking about should I join the Women's Veteran Alliance? What is the camaraderie? But what is your mission now as well?
So our mission is to connect women veterans with each other and resources. I mean, that's what we do, and we do that through online and in-person networking and events. So when I say networking, helping women who are looking to start a business,
okay, yeah,
the career piece, the education piece. Just connect her to resources. Connect women. I still today in 2022 find women that do not identify themselves as veterans. We're still overcoming that. So connecting women to say, yes, you are a veteran. But you may also have served, yes, but I'm not.
Interesting.
So we have to still work on that, because if you're not identifying yourself, you're not utilizing all the benefits.
None whatsoever. And I always say that. I mean, community is so important, because so many entrepreneurs, whether women or men, they go into that world, or they even leave the corporate world for other people, civilians. They go from the cubicle and they go from camaraderie to many times to solitary confinement. Being an entrepreneur. So I think what you do for mental health is paramount.
Absolutely, absolutely. And even though our services aren't directly mental health, they're supporting.
Oh, they are, right? Like I said, I mean, mental, many times for me, sorry, we're going on a little bit long in this segment, but I'm really passionate about this myself, because I always look at it this way: mental health services get you up to baseline. But it's like networking and services that you provide in your organization, take you from, going beyond surviving to getting to thriving. And seeing, that's what I love about your organization too, is because it's like once you get to a wonderful state, stability, don't stop, right?
Definitely. You're absolutely right. We have the whole of it. So it's everything, right? It's not just these little wedges. It's everything. Her mental health, her financial health, her family, just all these things, right? We have to take a look.
It really is a holistic approach,
And we're feeling that. And if we don't provide the direct service, we're going to find other programs, other things that can help her to help her.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, tell everyone, how can they get a hold of you? What's the best ways for people to reach out to you and just be able to connect?
Absolutely. And Robert, thank you so much for chatting with me. I
You're
appreciate that.
welcome.
So honestly, if you just Google the Women Veterans Alliance or myself, Melissa Washington, I 100% guarantee I'm going to come up on the first page. We're on all social media. Feel free to connect with us. If you're a woman veteran, if your daughter's a veteran, your sister's a veteran, your wife's a veteran, spouse, partner, reach out to us.
Well, everyone, reach out to Melissa Washington. What a heart-centered, like-minded person who's on this show today. Thank you so much for being here and getting to meet you. Yep. We're all making friends here. We can't kiss babies anymore, but we can at least, do a high five, a hug, or something like that.
All right,
So,
Semper Fi. Have a happy birthday.
Thank you.
Alrighty.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
Again, here I am at Robert Jones, and I'm just sitting in for Daniel Faust. We're having some fun out here at the Military Influencers Conference, getting to meet people, make connections, new friends. You know what I mean? We're all family here. That's what it's about. Hey, how's it going?
How are we doing?
Hey, we are doing fine. Go ahead and sit down. Let's see. Look at right here. I am with Donnell Johns. So Donnell Johns and Robert Jones. I mean, it sounds like a new duel. Who knows? We got to get on stage and do some things, right? Donnell, welcome to the show. So what I'm doing is I'm just doing a little bit of a series of questions, talking about like the background before the military life, and talking about how was it, young Donnell, what was life like, what state are you from, what's family like? Tell us a little bit about the young Donnell.
So young Donnell was born and raised in San Francisco, California.
San Francisco.
San
Bay
Francisco.
Bridge and all that.
Bay Bridge. In fact, you were able to see the bridge from my high school that I grew up at.
Man, it probably is hard to do
Actually,
that
the
now.
Golden Gate. I said the Bay is the Golden
The
Gate.
Golden Gate.
Yeah.
The Golden Gate. That's that beautiful red bridge, right?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. And so what was it like growing up in San Francisco?
It was absolutely amazing. To grow up in a city that is famous and around just things that are happening, it was extraordinary. I didn't realize it then, but just thinking back on my childhood, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
It was a great place to grow up.
a diverse city, a city that's on the ocean.
Yes.
I mean, a big population in San Francisco treat, right?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
So you came from about San Francisco, and then one day did you wake up, or did you have this like long term idea that you were going to serve in the military? Tell us about what did that look like for you?
So I actually was looking at joining the Air Force first. And
Okay.
I ended up joining the Army. And so I went to the recruiter's office back in the 90s.
No one goes to the recruiter's office.
Yeah. So back it was 89 going on 90. I went to the recruiter's office 3 times. I was trying to join the Air Force and the recruiter was never there.
Oh wow.
So I gave up on that.
I don't know, Air Force. You lost one here. Sounds
Exactly.
like. Yeah.
Air Force, y'all messed up. You messed up. But what happened was later on down the line, a group of my friends, we had nothing to do during the summer. And then we came home one day and my best friend's mom had a recruiter sitting in the living room waiting on us.
What?
Yes.
What? Did you know this? Or
No.
It was like total surprise.
No, I didn't know. And so
Oh my gosh.
the recruiter was in the living room waiting on us. She was like, hey, y'all need to come to the house. And Dren Johnson, which was my recruiter's name, had 4 individuals, 17 and 18 years old, sitting at his table. And my friend's mom was like, hey, y'all need to talk to this guy about the military.
Oh, interesting.
And we all joined.
So your mom was buying into this as well. She thought it was a great choice for you.
My mom really didn't want me to join, but she never said anything about it.
Interesting.
She said,
So she did this for you. Total
yes,
sacrifice.
Total sacrifice. She said to me, because I had 2 offers. One is there was this job back in 89 paying $15 an hour to sell level or type blinds.
Yeah.
And I was like, Mom, what should I do? Should I join the military or should I sell blinds? And she said, you have to make that decision. And so since my friends was joining the military, I joined the military as well.
I'll tell you what, that's also love from your mom. And, you gotta love that. Gotta love the moms, right?
Gotta love Mom.
Oh my goodness. So tell us a little bit about your military service and maybe some roles you had in the military.
So I was fortunate. So when I joined, my recruiter wanted me he asked me about being infantry. I said, unfortunately not. I'm not going to do that. He was like, well, what do you want to do? I said, I want a job where I can have an office. And he was like, well, you don't want to jump out of planes? I said, no. He said, you don't want to be outside? I said, look, sir, I have allergies. I would give up my fighting position. I didn't say fighting position at the time, but I would have snot all over the place. I wouldn't be able to shoot my weapon. That's not for me.
Yeah.
I need an office. And I became at the time, an administrative specialist in the Army.
And so administrative specialist, did you spend your whole time in that? Or did you change roles? Or?
I did. I did. So my first 9 years in the Army, I did administration. My first duty station was Desert Storm, right out of training.
Okay.
And so while I was in basic training and job training, they kept telling us we're going to war. And I kept telling my drill sergeant, I said, look, I'm not going to war. Well, what do you expect me to do? Throw a typewriter at him? Like, y'all got the wrong guy. I'm not going to war. I wasn't saying that I wasn't going, but I didn't think I would go because I had a human research job.
So, in a way, I like how you think. So I was in the Marines. I was in the Marines 83 to 89, and my first 3 years I was field radio communications. And I said, man, this is tough. I don't know how long I'm gonna last with this antenna on my back. And so after that, I went back to school and I became a seacock. So I did teletype and stuff. It was a total totally different
Right.
world from you, right?
Mhm.
You know what? So you had some good sense, and so you know you served, you got out, and then what was it like? You know, life after the military.
So I guess let me remind about the time that I was in.
Okay, yeah, absolutely.
So I did human resources, and then I transferred into the Army National Guard after 10 years of active duty as a
Right.
recruiter in the National Guard, and I worked my way up from being a junior recruiter all the way up to being a command sergeant major and recruiter.
Okay,
And then I was the first human resource sergeant major in the entire Army National Guard history.
right here we're making history. Right here we're seeing history. See, Air Force, what happened? you know. So you ended up, you know. So what inspired you to do Red? You know, what is inspiring you to do Red Friday?
So Red Friday is actually a shirt that's talking about remember everyone deployed. My actual company is Veterans Growing America. Veterans Growing America is an organization. It's a business entrepreneurial support ecosystem for veteran and military spouse entrepreneurs. We do events throughout the United States. We partner with the Army and Air Force Exchange to do veteran business expos. And then we also have a physical space in Woodbridge, Virginia, where we do veteran pop-up shops.
Okay.
And what that is we have up to 20 veteran and military spouses that have a business. They bring a table from us, and they sell their products and services to America.
I love it. So I mean, you know, so you're collaborating and bringing people together and giving them resources and access and get their voice heard out there. Right?
Absolutely.
You know, that is what it's all about. You know, that's how we help our entrepreneurs, especially our veterans, if we can say that.
Yes.
So, you know, you have done a lot of incredible things, but I always do this at the end of the show because sometimes in service, you know, we don't pat ourselves on the back enough. You know? Tell me a claim to fame that you've done in your life that you're so proud of that you want to share with everyone.
So while I was the Army National Guard G1 Sergeant Major, we improved the readiness of the entire Army National Guard by 30%. What that means is individuals, the military was able to go to war efficiently and faster because the people were in the right place at the right time doing the right things in the Army.
Yeah, and speed is everything.
Speed is everything.
I mean, yeah, you know, it's like, you know, you want them to be in weight. You want them to be awake. You know, Danielle, thank you. You know, how can people get a hold of you if they want to learn more about the Americans, you know, Veterans Grow America? You know,
So Veterans Growing America, all you have to do is just Google that, Veterans Growing America. That's what we do. We grow America.
all right. Thank you so much for being on here today. Thank you for your service.
I appreciate it. Thank
I
you.
appreciate it as well. You know, what an amazing gentleman. I mean, I've been blessed with everyone who's been on the show today. So again, I am here in wonderful, lovely Las Vegas, Arizona, Las Vegas, Nevada. You know, see, I'm from Arizona now. I live in Phoenix. You know, and I'm on Daniel Faust's show. I'm at the Military Influencers Conference, and you know, there's about 1,000 people that have been in and out the doors here. There's fabulous classrooms that you can learn from other vets. There's you know, wonderful speakers that are on stage. There is, you know, exhibitors all around me, you know, and all of us are just here, and what we're here to do is to support one another, you know, in our post, you know, service life. Again, my name is Robert Jones. I am on the show, you know, Warhero to Superhero. You know, Daniel Faust helps veterans, you know, go from the bedroom all the way to the boardroom so they can see their success. I want to thank you for, you know, being here today on the show. And you know what? I got Daniel right here. He's coming up. I'd say hi, Daniel.
All right, I'll come up for like 2 seconds.
You know, and thank you so much for allowing me to sit in the seat. I had so much fun today, and I hope you guys had some fun as well with our show.
Yep, and just so you guys know, Warhero2SuperHero is not just about me. It's about uplifting military veterans and first responders. I am just one of the hosts, and our goal is to go and get the content out there. So thank you, Robert, for going over and interviewing.
Thank you.
And we're going to end this, so we're going to go hit that little video real quick. So it's going to look a little awkward at the end of the video, but let's see where the mouse is.
Take care, everyone.
Yep. And we shall end it. Come on. Put your love buttons. No, come on.
You got it?
Yep, we're going to scroll up, and we're just going to go out.